What's up, guys? This is Connor with Shopscape Lawn and Landscape. Today I want to talk about some tips to grow your business. Right off the bat, you're going to want to get business cards. If you don't already have them, I'll show you guys our business card right here. This is our newer one, so I actually did pay to have these designed. You can definitely get them cheaper than I got them. I actually used a local company just to give back to the community a little bit. And they did a great job. I mean, these are really nice. They also designed some signs for me, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, so business cards. Obviously, if somebody comes up to you, they want a quote or they're interested in your business, you can always give them a business card. Works great. They're relatively cheap. You can also design them yourselves. This one is from probably 4 years ago. I designed this myself back in probably 2018 or something like that. At the time, I think I was, well, it's 2025, so that was 7 years ago. So I would have been like 13. So I figured this out at 13. So I'm sure you guys can figure it out if you have a little bit of design or just the desire to make this stuff. It just takes time. So the logo, I had somebody else design, but I did add this white area. I added these two sides on here in order to encase this whole thing, and I put a white background here too, so you can actually see the lettering. And then I added this picture in the back. That's actually my front yard, which looks a little bit different now because we got rid of a lot of the trees and stuff. Yeah, so this was pretty simple to design. It took me quite a while. But if you are tight on money, you can definitely design them yourself. So the main thing I want to talk about with business cards is going door to door. A lot of people aren't going to take this advice because it is very nerve-wracking, and it's not the easiest thing to do, going door to door. I'll give you guys our approach, and there's a million different ways to do it. There's a bunch of great videos out there from different guys. If you look into Lawn Care Millionaire, George Packard, they have some great videos on this kind of stuff, and I'm sure there's a million other people I haven't mentioned. But if you guys go on YouTube, you can find a lot of this information for free. But how we go door to door, I will do it personally myself. I don't have any employees doing that kind of stuff yet. But essentially what I'll do is, if we're already working in a neighborhood, that's especially when I like to do it, just because we're already there and it kind of works with the sales pitch I do, which is not really a pitch at all. Essentially what I do is I go up to the door. I try to be as non-intrusive as possible. You walk up to the door, you knock on the door, big smile, because that's a quote from Keith Kalfas. If you guys know who he is, check out Keith Kalfas. He's got some great videos. But if you walk up to the door and you're like you're all afraid and stuff, like the person's not going to open the door. They're going to be weirded out. So you have to kind of lead them, right? So big smile. Don't look like a weirdo. Don't be creepy about it. But have a attitude of positive expectancy, right? So, and by the way, this is a cut on my lip. Yeah, so you walk up to the door, and then I'll just knock on the door, and I'll say, or I'll ring the doorbell. Obviously, if you can ring the doorbell, that's better. Sometimes my house personally, our doorbell doesn't work. So, and if they have a no soliciting sign, just don't knock the door. It's not worth it. I would try to be respectful of people who have the no soliciting sign. And anyway, so you go up there, you knock on the door, you say, "Hey, my name's Connor with Shopscape Lawn and Landscape. I just want to let you know we're doing your neighbor's job right down the street. If you ever need anything, just give me a call," and then just walk away. And if they ask questions, then obviously you go from there. But what I'm trying to do is just introduce myself and let them know we're in the area. And I'm not trying to sell them on something right on the spot. A lot of times it'll turn into that. There's some variations you can make to that, but just kind of tailor it to your own thing. And I've also heard of a lot of guys going out and offering like a $5 gift card, just saying, "Hey, just want to give you this. We're in the neighborhood." That's something that would be helpful too if you have some extra money. And keep in mind, guys, you're going to pay for every client that you get. So whether you do door hangers, direct mail, Facebook, signs, all this stuff is going to cost you money to get customers. So, and even if it's a referral, you have to go and do the free estimate, and so it all costs money. But obviously, what we're looking for is what we can get the most bang for our buck, but also we want to use multiple streams of marketing in order to grow our business, right? You don't just want to do one thing. You're not like, oh, I'm just going to do, postcards, right? That's not going to work out super well. So anyway, let's get moving here on to the next thing. So postcards. I don't think I have any with me. Great way to get work. I have heard a million different things on the percentages you could expect. I find that for every 100 flyers you put out, you might get one call, and really for every 200 flyers you put out, you might get one job. So what that means is you're expecting a 1% return. So essentially for every 100 people, you're gonna get one phone call. And then we personally land, it depends, but typically 50% of the jobs. So you're essentially getting a 0.5% return, right? Which might not sound that great, but these are the legitimate figures. And it might even be worse than that, especially depending on the time of year. Now, you could get better results too if you put them out at the right time of year. Definitely when we do postcards and all this kind of marketing stuff, you want to do it throughout the year, but if you put out flyers in the middle of the winter for lawn mowing, you're not going to get any calls, right? So the best time is as the grass is growing, as the spring is coming and the birds are chirping and all that kind of stuff. You want your stuff to be everywhere, right? So postcards, pretty simple. You can get them designed. You can design them yourself. You definitely want to do a lot of studying on marketing, which we'll have some videos coming out on that as well, talking about copy and how to design these postcards. Not necessarily design in terms of like photos and that kind of thing, but more like the copy, right? So the wording, that's what we'll be more focused on, because that's what's really important. So if you just take a flyer and you just put, Bob's lawn landscaping, lawn mowing, weeding, trimming, blah, 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 like that, just having those basic things and a phone number, you're not going to get as good of a return if you had some sort of something more, maybe a deal like 50% off, whatever, or sense of urgency, right? Hey, we only have so many spots on our schedule. And then having something we're really interested in doing this year is doing postcards that are specifically tailored to getting lawn accounts for the neighbors, right? So we want to, when we go into a neighborhood and we're cutting one lawn, that's where you're barely making any money. You want to have 10, 20, 30 lawns in that neighborhood. Obviously there's smaller neighborhoods, you're only going to get a certain percentage, but we've had neighborhoods with, my neighborhood personally, there's about 66 homes in here and we have 10 accounts. So that's a good majority of the people that are getting their grass cut. There's only a few other companies in here and they might cut 1 or 2 lawns themselves, and we have the rest of them. So, and we're not lowballing either. We've just been here for so long and consistently marketed to these people. And that's the thing. To build route density, I hate to say it, but it does take time. It does take time. You want to, the more marketing you do, the better, but also being in business for years says a lot. And the more they see you coming, hey, he's still doing the neighbor's grass. He's still doing a good job. Maybe we should give him a call. Our guy, he keeps making these turn marks and he ran over our sprinkler and he refused to fix it, whatever, blah, 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 right? There's a million reasons. And now let's talk about EDDM. I'm going to keep this very short because I haven't done it personally. And we were going to do a campaign last year, but we got so busy and I didn't really have the hiring process down. I still don't, but we're getting better at it. And so I wasn't able to take on the work. So essentially what ended up happening is I had all the postcards sent to me and I have 6,000 postcards for summer to use next summer. So we're all set on that, but I got to get some spring ones made and some other stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk too much about EDDM, which is essentially where the post office puts the postcards in the mailbox for you. The problem with this is that generally you're not going to get as good of a return as door hangers or postcards, because the door hanger or the postcard is on the mailbox or in the door, and typically, depending on the market you're in, they don't get a lot of stuff on the door and they don't get a lot of stuff on the mailbox. And when people are going through their junk mail, they're just throwing it right in the trash. They might not even read the headline, right? Whereas if it's on their door or if it's on their mailbox, by the way, if you're personally putting out postcards, do not put them in the mailbox. That is a federal offense. It's probably not the end of the world, but you definitely want to avoid that. You could get in some trouble. So don't put them in the mailboxes, put them on the mailboxes. And then obviously door hangers, you can just hang on the door. So I think I pretty much covered everything that. Website. We are currently getting a website built. I don't have a ton of information to give you guys right off the bat. Obviously, I've heard really good things about having a website, it being the number one source of getting customers. And we're definitely looking to grow. So that's something we're going to be investing in. And I'll kind of give you guys updates as that goes along. Now, this is probably the biggest one. And no, let's talk about signs before that. So signs, you can get, sometimes they're expensive, especially when you buy them in a low quantity. So if you only need 5 signs, you're going to pay a lot per sign. Typically you want to buy 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, as many as you can, so you get that volume discount, right? So we have some signs that I can show you guys later. And for me, this kind of goes hand in hand with like marketing on our trucks, because we do have 2 signs on our trailer that are on the trailer all year long. And they're not super big. Ideally, we're going to invest in some wraps and things like that. And again, I'm not going to get into that because I don't have a ton of experience with it. But obviously, if you pull up with a nicely wrapped truck, or even a painted truck that has your logo and your phone number on it, you just look way more professional. And, you probably have a little bit of a better chance of landing the job, and also just looking more professional and getting maybe a little bit better of a price. So that's definitely something we have to work on. But in terms of signs, usually when you put them at the HOA entrances, expect them to be gone when the lawn guy comes to cut. The one guy who does the common areas for the HOA. Also, don't be surprised if a Good Samaritan takes your sign. Other lawn care companies sometimes will pull them that don't even cut the HOA. They don't want you getting business. But typically you're going to lose a lot of these signs. So I would expect, if you're putting out 50 signs, I don't even know if I would expect to get any of them back. With putting them along the roads, you usually want to do it on the weekend, I believe, because the city will come through during the week and they will take your stuff. And if you can put them out, Friday evening and then pick them up Sunday night, that's probably your best chance of getting all the majority of those signs back. But signs work well. Especially one of the greatest ways I like to use them is if we're doing a landscape job in a neighborhood. We'll put them out in the lawn, and that has worked very well for us. Some HOAs don't allow it, but for the most part they do. And it just, obviously if we did a beautiful job on their mulch and their edging and all this stuff, the neighbors can see that, and they can even see it as we're working. And a lot of times we'll have walk-ups, we'll have people call. And also from on the trailer, we have the signs on there. So we've gained lawn accounts from just having those signs on the trailer. And people noticing and seeing us cut in the neighborhood and being like, hey, maybe I should give these guys a call. They seem to cut a lot of lawns in here and they seem to do a good job. So signs work well. The last thing I want to talk about, which is probably the most important and has been one of the greatest things for my business, it's also free. It's free, okay? And companies will try to sell you on getting reviews for you and all this kind of stuff. It's very easy to get reviews by yourself. I think that might not be the best use of your money, especially if you're a smaller company, you're trying to grow, you have more time than you do money. You can definitely do the Google My Business myself. So you want to create a Google My Business profile on Google, and then you set up your company, all that stuff, and then you want to immediately start getting positive reviews. So you have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to get a crazy influx at once, because Google might flag it and say, hey, what's going on here? But if you just consistently get more and more reviews, You will watch, and a lot of companies don't take advantage of this. So we very, very easily got to the very top of the Google My Business thing. So we're essentially we're on the first page of Google. So we're kicking butt of people with websites because they don't have a Google My Business page. They don't have good reviews on there. People look at that, and we currently are able to keep a 5-star rating. I know that's not going to last. Eventually we'll get a complaint or whatever. But the goal essentially is to get up to, I believe, 50 or 100 reviews. So then when you get that negative review, you're at a 4.9 instead of a 4.5 or whatever. We're currently at a 5.0. Please do not mess with my Google profile. But if you want to look it up and just see, if you look up, lawn maintenance in my area, we come up. So, and I can show you guys that eventually. But Google My Business is huge. You can definitely grow your business with that. And with that, I think we pretty much covered anything. So these are just some tips to market and grow your business. I hope this helped you guys out. If you're looking for more information, we'll definitely be posting more on here. I would check out George Packard. He's got some great videos. Obviously, Brian Fullerton, Brian's Lawn Maintenance has some great videos. Florida Turf Pros, I could shout out a million people. I know I'm going to forget a bunch. Keith Kalfas, great videos. Even Johnny Moe, I like some of the stuff he has. Not necessarily a super big marketer, but in terms of some of the older videos on growing your business and certain things, I think there's definitely a lot of good information that can be taken away from Mr. Johnny. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered it all. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to speak with you guys in the future, and hopefully as we go, I'll get a little bit better at this, a little bit better at looking at the camera, looking at you guys instead of looking this way, right? Looking at myself in the camera. Yeah, so just a little bit about me. I've been doing this for, this will be year 11. I'll be 21 in January, and this will be our 11th year in business. And it's been a great ride. I started at 10 years old. And if you guys want me to do a video on like how to start a lawn care business as a kid, that's something I'd like to do, because that was a video I would always search out, and there wasn't a ton of information on that. So I think I could give you guys some good tips for you younger guys who are looking to start out. But this is all applicable too, guys. I mean, don't be afraid to watch videos of older guys who are experienced. That's where you're going to get the best information. So anyway, that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please leave me a comment and let me know what you guys have questions about, what you guys would like me to do videos about. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this was helpful. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.